Lower Chippewa River Basin is home to many forms of life. One of the smaller animals is the Karner Blue butterfly. The Chippewa River and all the streams that flow to it make up the Lower Chippewa River Basin. The sand prairies and pine barrens especially make the Lower Chippewa River Basin more biologically diverse. Biodiversity is the abundance of species of plants and animals within their habitats. Habitats with variety and abundance of species have increased biodiversity. Increased biodiversity makes a habitat less vulnerable to changes such as urbanization and the conversion of these habitats to farms. In the past, these habitats have been the home of the Karner Blue butterfly, which federally are listed as critically endangered. The Karner Blue butterfly depends on wild blue lupine, a plant that lives exclusively in sand prairies and pine barrens. According to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, the Karner Blue butterfly formerly occurred in a range extending across 12 states, from Minnesota to Maine. Wisconsin and New York now support the greatest number of Karners. The Karner Blue butterfly's disappearance from fragile sand prairie and pine barren habitats tells us that something is wrong. The existence of these habitats ensures stability and diversity of the Lower Chippewa River Basin. Protecting local sand prairies and pine barrens will affect not only the fate of the Karner Blue butterfly, but also protects the biodiversity of the entire habitat. What is it that has made these beautiful butterflies disappear? The answer is us, human beings. Our presence in the Chippewa River Basin have fragmented the homes of these creatures. What is fragmentation? Fragmentation is the process of breaking into pieces. In relation to animals, it is the division of original habitat, which confines animals, like the Karner, to smaller patches. With this separation, these animals have a harder time reaching potential mates, finding food, and moving about the habitat safely. Imagine this is a prairie. The prairie is whole, and butterflies can move and interact easily within the entire habitat. Now let's add a road down the middle. Now the prairie is fragmented into two parts. The road makes it harder for all of the prairie animals to get from one side to the other without risk of death or injury. Now let's say we're going to clear some land to plant corn. This means there's less natural habitat for prairie dwellers to live on. Now say that we put another road across the horizontal way. These additions have created more separations, known as fragmenting. Fragmenting creates less natural yellow prairie space. Now the butterflies have a much harder time getting from yellow patch to yellow patch. Just like human activities fragmented the yellow prairie into small pieces, so did the humans in the Lower Chippewa River Basin. With the arrival of the logging industry, population of the basin grew. Some sand prairies and pine barrens have become fragmented from urbanization and road construction. Others are also being converted to farms. Wildfire prevents the prairie from changing into a forest. Humans have long suppressed natural wildfires. Yet, without fire, the habitat becomes unsuitable for sand prairie and pine barren wildlife. It is important to habitat survival to maintain biodiversity among the plants and animals living within it. Biodiversity is lost rapidly due to habitat fragmentation. Fragmentation of our native habitats left behind a patchy landscape. Remnants of our prairie land are now separated and isolated. As the largest city on the Chippewa River, the citizens of Eau Claire, with a population of 65,000, have a responsibility to protect its native landscapes from habitat fragmentation. We must value the Lower Chippewa River Basin and hold on to what is left of the sand prairies and pine barrens to maintain a stable and diverse ecosystem. Today, sand prairies and pine barrens make up less than 1% of the Lower Chippewa River Basin, while over half of the remaining land is designated to cropland and pasture. 85% of Wisconsin lands are privately owned. In order to create a continuous habitat for plants and animals, like the Karner Blue butterfly, we must educate these private landowners of ways that they can help. Protection and restoration of native sand prairies and pine barrens increase the biodiversity of the Lower Chippewa River Basin. Become a part of Wisconsin's tradition of land stewardship. Volunteers are given the opportunity to work one-on-one with property owners who have land suitable for native sand prairie and pine barren plants, such as the wild lupine. To learn more, visit the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, the Wisconsin Partners Program website at www.fws.gov/Midwest/Wisconsin Partners.